Hey, everybody, what's happening? Welcome once again. This is Syracuse basketball postgame presented by Krause Health, the exclusive healthcare partner for Syracuse Athletics. My name is Brent Axe, and we are with you here. I got you, babe, playing in the background, right? It's March. It's not February, but Groundhog Day just keeps coming for Syracuse basketball. Two absolutely brutal losses in a row on the road where Syracuse has a big lead, a considerable lead that you shouldn't let wilt away to two. In one case, SMU is a team right on the bubble, a team that Syracuse almost popped their bubble tonight. Had SMU lost to Syracuse, they would be out of tournament contention. At least they lived to see another day in that case. And Virginia Tech, these are not exactly teams at the top of the league. These are teams that Syracuse had halftime leads against, played terrific first halves against, but just when you think they're going to close the deal and they are going to get through the day, you wake up, I Got You Babe is on the radio, and it starts all over again. This is a team that is poorly coached, that finds ways to lose. It is that simple. Even after a night when Syracuse moved the ball as well as they have all season long, looked great, had 6 players in double figures, it's always something with this team, and they snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. I don't even know if I have that expression correct, but this is a team that now is a season that is marked by finding ways to lose, that with just one regular season game remaining, their last home game of the year as well against Virginia on Saturday at the Dome, and however far they go in the ACC tournament, which the way this team plays is not far, is a lost season that does not have a signature moment in it. Last season, which was a winning season, a 20-win season, you had the buzzer beater over Miami, you had the win over North Carolina at the JMA Wireless Dome. You had a couple of things you could kind of hang your hat on. This season has nothing for this basketball team and for its fan base to hang its hat on as Syracuse falls to an unthinkable 12-18 record, 6-13 in ACC play. It's a season full of gut punches. And look, it started at the beginning of the year when you're playing close games against Lemoyne and Youngstown State and a bunch of teams that you shouldn't be playing close games against. And right here at the end, it's the same deal in ACC play. They find ways to lose. That's going to be the mark of this team. I mean, short of some kind of miracle run in the ACC tournament, but how can you do that when you can't play defense, you're poorly coached, and you just find ways to let leads wilt away? 13-point lead against Virginia Tech. Syracuse had another double-digit lead in this game. So tonight, SMU, who, by the way, as Uncle Brent loves to say, free throws matter. And when you go 13 of 27 from the free throw line, you should lose. If you are playing a team that goes 13 of 27 at the free throw line, that's 48%, and you counter with 14 of 19. Now, Syracuse missed some free throws down the stretch, don't get me wrong, but you go 73%, they go 48%, you should win that game. The difference is SMU points in the paint, 44-26. In the second half, that mark was 28-10. SMU scored on 15 of their last 16 possessions in the paint. Syracuse was helpless to stop them in the paint, even though they were sending to the free throw line. They're missing free throws left and right. That's been one of the bugaboos of the Syracuse team, and it continues. How poor they play on defense, how you have no faith that Adrian Autrey is going to make the right call, make the right switch, make the right substitution. I mean, I'm sitting here still stewing that Lucas Taylor gets pulled earlier in the game. He was NBA Jam. He's on fire. Go over here and sit on the bench. The substitutions just continue to bewilder me. I'm still thinking about that. Like, how did that happen? But again, Syracuse shoots 57% in the first half. They, tonight in this game, assisted on 19 of 26 field goals. They move the ball better than they have all year. And for even longer, okay, Virginia Tech, they started to wilt and the snowball melted a lot earlier than in this game, right? It started with about 10 minutes to go. Even down the stretch, Syracuse is finding itself up by 6, up by 8, keeping a lead together, right? But SMU just kept chipping away, going to the paint, chipping away, and you could just see it coming again. And that's probably the worst feeling as a fan. It's one thing when you just lose close games. It's quite another when you know it's coming and you just don't have faith and nothing has been shown to you from this team that they can keep a lead. I mean, I felt like they would win this one. I did not against Virginia Tech on Saturday because we've just seen it too many times. But I felt like with the way SMU just kept missing free throws and the way that Syracuse was moving the ball, like they would just escape. They would find a way to pull this thing off. So that's going to be the mark of this season. You beat Virginia on Saturday, great. Now you're 13-18 and 7-13 in ACC play. And you go to the ACC tournament in Charlotte. And you've got to play some defense to make a run. Now, the longer you get into a tournament, it just becomes a will of outscoring the other team. Defenses fade when you play 2, 3, 4 days in a row. Any team is going to do that. But if the season ended today, by the way, I believe Syracuse would play Florida State, who beat Syracuse by, I think that was a 90-74 game, if I'm not mistaken. And they might end up playing SMU again. Believe it or not, we'll see how it shakes out and exactly what the bracket looks like. But if the season ended today, they'd be in the 12-13 game against Florida State. I mean, this is not a team that is capable of making an NC State-like run. Okay? I'll eat my words if I'm wrong on that, but I'm not going to be wrong on that. So a frustrating season continues, a season that just has nothing for this team to hang its hat on. No moment, no upset, no victory that really just makes you say, this is it. This is the season. Adrian Autrey's job status has to be in trouble. I mean, it's just that simple. At some point, John Wildhack is going to have to make a statement publicly. And this is, remember, John Wildhack, somebody who put out a statement last week when they were announcing their $50 million fundraising campaign. A $50 million fundraising campaign on the heels of his statement. And I'm going to pull it up here, okay? This is John Wildhack, quote, "In this new era of college athletics, it is abundantly clear that winning programs will be the ones that galvanize the support of their campuses, fan bases, and communities. You don't have a winning program in basketball. You have a college basketball program that has not been ranked since December of 2018, will miss the NCAA tournament for the 4th straight year, will not be in any tournament short of the ACC tournament this year. And you're going against your own words there. The second biggest program on campus, the second biggest program on most campuses, right? Football is galvanizing, is winning, has people behind it. A once proud men's basketball program has just fallen to depths people never thought they would see this, and have not seen, frankly. Generations of Syracuse fans have not seen a team this bad. The last time they were this bad was the late 1960s, right? Which tells you just the success and, yeah, frankly, how spoiled fans got, and they had every reason to be, considering they would win every year, win 20 games, go to the tournament. This was just normal. This was the orange standard that you set. And now, ironically, for Autrey to use that expression, this is your orange standard. So you have 1 year of 20-12, 19-12, if you don't want to count Chaminade, which is a Division II win in the Maui Classic a year ago. And now you have a losing season. So which one's the real Adrian Autrey? Which one's the real Syracuse? He's going to get, whether you agree or not, a third year to figure this out, with a general manager to go in the portal and all the ways they're going to try and justify this. But time after time, this season, Autrey has proven he comes up short in clutch situations. This team can't play defense when it matters. He can't coach when it matters. He can't sub when it matters. And they just find ways to lose. That's on the head coach. That's on everybody. But that is what the head coach bears. When the reputation of a team is that you find ways to lose, that rings loudest. And that's where we're at. So I wish John Wildhack luck in galvanizing people with winning programs, to use his words, when you have a coach whose reputation is he finds ways to lose. I mean, that's just the way it is. I've seen too many games. You've seen too many games. We've all seen it. Like, this is what Syracuse basketball is now. And I brought up Virginia a moment ago. Even Virginia has gotten a big, I believe I heard today, $7 million commitment in NIL in the offseason. Look, we'll have plenty of time in the offseason to discuss this and break it down. You guys know it as well as I do. And we're going to go to our Syracuse Sports Insiders coming up. As you can imagine, they were pretty fired up about this one. Just a couple of basketball things. I mentioned a couple of them, but man, J.J. Starling is really struggling. And J.J. almost got away with the 6 assists he had tonight, which was second on the team, distributing the ball. But you've got a 27% three-point shooter, who goes 1 of 10 from three-point land. This is not a shoot-or-shoot situation. This is a situation where Autrey has got to tell JJ, you can't shoot from three. You're not making them. You're our go-to guy, but you're not making those shots tonight. Why J.J. Starling is allowed, and some of them were wide open, don't get me wrong. You got a guy that open, but you got to make him. And you got to show in the past that you've made him. He's 27% from the three-point line. There's a reason he's getting those open shots. You play the percentages if you're an opponent. He's not going to hit him. He went 1 of 10 from the three-point line tonight. J.J. Starling cannot be shooting that many three-pointers. I'm sorry, he can't. Now, this was a balanced offense. We mentioned 6 Syracuse players, 6 SMU players as well in doubles. JJ at 10, 3 of 17 shooting overall, though. Lucas Taylor still ends up being leading scorer in 16 minutes. He had 13 points. A huge part of that came in the first half when he was white hot, 11 points. But again, he's just hitting on all cylinders. Red sits him on the bench. Still don't get that. Jaquan Carlos has been great the past 2 games. He had 12 points tonight. He had 8 assists, 2 turnovers. That's that assist-to-turnover ratio we heard so much about from Carlos when he came in. I have no complaints with the way he played and played 37 minutes, the most on this team, okay? Jair Davis, who's battling apparently a groin strain, 4.7 rebounds, hit the boards, toughed out 28 minutes. But again, the Ole defense in the paint, Eddie Lampkin cannot defend. Okay, for all the great things that Eddie has done, all the double-doubles that he has brought to the table, the effort, I have really liked watching Eddie Lampkin for the most part this year. He just can't defend. 10-9, just missed out on another double-double in 31 minutes. Kyle Cuff's all over the place. Cuff has 10 points, and Kyle Cuff is driving in the paint. Still taking on guys that are 6-7 inches taller than he is. You can't do it. You've got to be smarter. He's hitting that corner three. He's smart about those shots, but Kyle, you got to stop driving into the paint and trying to score over these redwood trees that are in there. And I get maybe you're trying to draw the foul, but he doesn't draw enough fouls to justify doing it. He just gets stuffed time after time. Here we are, March 5th, still talking about those mistakes that he's making. Chris Bell has been better. Chris Bell gave you 3 of 5 from three-point range, 11 points in 24 minutes. Okay, Bell has played a lot better in the last 6-7 games, and it took him a while to get there, but he is somebody who's given you a pop off the bench, right? The Maestro played 12 minutes tonight, 12 that'd be great if he had 12 points. 2 points, 2 rebounds. Naheem McLeod gave you 8 minutes, not exactly what he did against Virginia Tech in that change of pace, but it was in the paint where Syracuse really struggled. 28-10 outscored there in the second half. Your go-to guy is going 1 of 10 from the three-point range. So again, there's no organization here. Yet, they found a way around that. They moved the ball so well tonight. JJ had some great plays inside. Carlos had some great passes. Just the fact that they had 19 assists on 26 field goals made. Syracuse, a team that has struggled to shoot threes all year, 9 of 22. That's enough. When SMU is going 4 of 11. Look, they read their scouting report. SMU goes at one of the faster paces in the ACC. Syracuse was ready for it. They came out. They jumped on them. They're going at a quick pace. That was not a problem. Syracuse allegedly wants to play at a faster pace. Okay, I still don't know what offense they're running out there, and I still am trying to figure that out after 2 years, but apparently they do want to move fast. That's what Autrey said when he took over. We want to go up and down the court. We want to move fast. We want to get back to what Syracuse basketball is. And at times they can do that. At times they can do that. They showed it tonight. But they also you're waiting for that other shoe to drop. You're waiting to go behind the door that's going to show how they're going to lose. Okay? And that point's right at coaching. It's not entirely on Autrey because players have to play and execute and all those cliches I can throw at you here. But when you consistently blow leads in the second half, look clueless, find ways to blow games, that's on coaching. Okay, you have a coach who's now in a situation where he has to prove that he can coach because you have a fan base, for the most part here, that does not feel that way. When you feel like your coach can't coach and you don't know what the orange standard is and you don't know what the offense is, and you're going to find that way they're going to lose because they have proven that time and time again all year, and especially in the last 2 games. That's a heck of a challenge to use that word that John Wildhack used to galvanize your fan base to believe in this thing going forward. That is a hell of a challenge. The offseason beckons here. One more game in the regular season. However far they go in the ACC tournament, which the way they're playing, they'll tease us and make us think maybe they can make a run and go 2-3 deep, but they'll probably find a way to lose in that first round because that's just what they do. This is who they are. This is what they've shown us to be. A lack of a signature moment, which is going to be hard to get. I mean, think about what you're going to have to do to give this season some kind of value, right? You're going to have to go way deep in the ACC tournament and knock off a big-time team. You beat Florida State, let's say, if that bracket holds. You beat Florida State, you beat SMU. Okay, great. You got to knock off a name-brand, big-time, top-level team, which in the ACC this year is hard to come by. I mean, SMU is on the bubble at, 21-8, 12-6 in the ACC. That should be good enough to get you in the best league in what it used to be in college basketball, but certainly not the case anymore. That's the SEC and a few other leagues that have leapfrogged the ACC as well. So think of that challenge, by the way. Think of the flip Syracuse has to make. Okay, SMU is 21, and I know not all resumes are created equal, but just in general, SMU is 21-8 coming into this game, 12-6 in the ACC, and they're on the bubble. Okay, Syracuse sits at 12-18 and 6-13 after this game. Think of the flip they've got to make to just be in the conversation to be in the NCAA tournament next year when the team they played tonight was on the bubble with the record that they had. That is a gargantuan task to take on, considering how this team played this year and what they have to replace. Again, we'll have plenty of time for offseason conversations, but you need an impact point guard. You need an impact center. Again, you need another impact player, another impact scorer. You need three-point shooting. You got to hope that Kyan Anthony and Sadiq White can come in and play right away. You got to hope Luke Fennell can shoot right away. He was coming from Australia. That could give you your three-point pop that you need. Let alone who's even coming back from this team. Does Chris Bell even come back? Does Kyle Cuff? I told Donna DeToto we're doing a great series of exit interviews with some Syracuse players. So who comes back and who doesn't? Who's even eligible to? And frankly, do you even want some of these guys back? Or do you just want to just completely clean house here and try and completely flip the script in a season, which can be done in the portal era? That's kind of the thing that's working for and against them, right? It can be done in the portal era. What's working against you is it can fail miserably in the portal era, as we saw with this team this year. See what our Syracuse Sports Insiders have to say. I know it's Groundhog Day. We've been saying a lot of the same things about this loss that we've said a lot about this team. You just changed the uniform colors on the other side here. In a half-filled arena, shout out to Mark S. and a couple of our Syracuse Sports Insiders, or Mark R., pardon me, and a couple of our Syracuse Sports Insiders that were in the building tonight. They're on the bubble. SMU could get in first year in the ACC. They're throwing a lot of money around down there in Dallas, a lot of oil money to build SMU into a ACC power, not only in football, but in basketball. You got a half-filled arena there, right? Nigel D. leads us off on our Syracuse Sports Insiders. And being a Syracuse Sports Insider means you can text me directly anytime. Your thoughts, your opinions, your questions, your comments on all matters Syracuse sports. I send you guys texts pretty much every day. Once in a while, I'll take a Sunday off or something, but you guys get the latest information. If I have breaking news, you get it first, analysis and opinions from me. You send me your questions, comments, opinions, and analysis, and it's a great free-flowing conversation where you can text me directly, and it's just $3.99 a month to have the access as a Syracuse Sports Insider. You can try it free for 2 weeks. We would love for you to try it out, become a part of the conversation, and join our growing community of some of the more passionate Syracuse sports fans out there. All the info right there on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. But in case you're not, all you have to do is hit joinsubtext.com/Syracuse Sports, or you can text the word orange to 315-847-3895. And we hope you join the Syracuse Sports Insider Club today. Nigel D's comment leads us off here. He says, I got nothing to say. I've had it. Ben S. Choke City once again. Zero coaching or defensive adjustments when SMU scored at will in the paint. 28-10. in the second half. I don't understand sitting Lucas Taylor for so long. Red is outcoached yet again. I mean, like, you can talk me into Chris Bell was hitting some threes. He should be on the court, but Lucas could not. I mean, he if he did this, takes him out. Don't get it. I don't get it either, Ben. Chris V. How do they do it? How do they still manage to play a game that just crushes my soul even when I know this team is not going anywhere? That's it. They almost had the Al Pacino vibe. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. But he pulls you back to the point, he's like, ah, just kidding, and shoves you back out, right? They do get you to care again. They do get you to invest again. They play well. They're looking like, okay, great. Pull out a win here. Give us something here. What have you done for me lately? That's kind of the beauty and the detriment of sports. What have you done for me lately? If they went out on a high note, say, won this game, beat Virginia, win a couple in the ACC tournament, I tell you what, these guys, like, that's what you would remember. It'd still be a losing season, and it wouldn't wipe away some of the things I said earlier. But, what have you done for me lately? People only remember 5 minutes ago in this world. But they found a way to get you just right back into it, then they shove you back out there. From Mike V, who says, so the obvious thing that nobody wants to call out. So we had 5 guys in double figures, and they're getting good looks all game, 35 minutes. Then he puts the ball in JJ's hands. And despite a pretty good start to the game on free throws, Carlos, Starling, and Lampkin each had 1-for-2 trips to the line at the end of the game. They needed to go 6 for 6 to win, but Syracuse went 3 of 6. It's a good point, Mike. I mean, overall, Syracuse was good at the free throw line. I can't get over the fact that you had SMU shoot 13 of 27 from the free throw line and win a game, but you got to make the ones that matter. It's in that case, it's quality over quantity, right? Carlos was missed late down the stretch was big. JJ's missing free throws. JJ, I mean, think of what you're living with there. JJ goes into hero mode. He goes into Mamba mode, but, I don't even know if we can call it Mamba mode, because when Kobe was in Mamba mode, get out of his way and let him do his thing. JJ has not earned that. By default, he's their go-to guy, but look at the numbers. And I'm not just talking about this game tonight, okay? Virginia Tech, 5 of 14, 0 of 3 from three-point range, okay? NC State, 6 of 12, 1 of 3 from three-point range. At 17 points in that game, right? He still manages to kind of claw out double figures, which he's always in, and has been in double figures 10 straight games now. But the shooting numbers aren't there. 5 of 15, 6 of 16, 8 of 21. He's certainly somebody who should not be taking 10 threes in this game. He's a 27% three-point shooter. And I hate to say it because it's a great story. JJ plays his butt off. He does make plays out there. You want somebody to kind of lead the charge. But Carlos was playing well enough that JJ didn't have to have the ball in his hands that much, take that many shots, and just he gets this. He's just got to play under control. He gets this wrecking ball, just going to go in the paint and see what happens kind of mentality. And he's not closing the deal on that enough. 3 of 17 from the field tonight. 1 of 10. He's taken 10. How is JJ taking 10 threes? And I know some of them are open, but this is not a shooter shoot kind of thing. The cliches don't apply. You got to defer. Okay, at some point, and maybe Red did tell him, and he still took the shots. I'm not in the huddle. I don't know, but you got to tell your leader, like, look, you can't take these threes. You're not shooting well. You don't have it. You can't do it. Do you want to put that in the head of your shooter? No, but you also have to be smart about these things, right? You have to be smart on how. That's what good coaches do. You have to find it like, JJ, listen, we're going to let Lucas Taylor and Chris Bell shoot the threes. I need you to do this for me tonight. Like, figure out a way to tell him, but I hate to see it because I like JJ, and for the most part, it's a great local story to have JJ here. People are wondering if he's going to come back next year. I think he will, because where else is JJ going to go where he's going to have the endorsement and NIL opportunities that you do in your hometown, right? And I think for the most part, people like JJ, but the numbers under control in those clutch situations. You're giving away too many possessions, and he's not a good enough. By the way, not only is JJ not a good enough three-point shooter, he struggles at the free throw line too. So you got to be careful with that. He's just Do you want JJ with the ball in his hands at all times in the last 5-6 minutes? Right now, that's more of a risk than anything. And I hate to say that, but the numbers bear it out. Billy H. says, Brent, the story of the season for Syracuse and Adrian Autrey is they either get blown out or they have a lead for the majority of the game and they find a way to lose it at the end. I will say it again. Adrian's a nice guy, but I don't think he's the right guy for this team if he can't get this team to play a full 40 minutes and hold a lead. From Jack H., this is Brent, I live 2 hours from SMU. You think this is the chance. He'll do anything to go to that game. Only chance to see the Orange in person. I stayed home. I called up to catch up with friends. I'm glad I didn't go. I'm glad I didn't waste my time watching it. I'm glad I got to see collapse number 8 of the year under Adrian Autrey. This just can't get worse. So frustrated fan who's right there in the area but didn't make the trip. Thomas T., my guy, says, dumb. Getting caught in the corner. JJ trying to be a hero. Putting the weakest defender on Miller for the last shot. OMG, I don't even want to go on Saturday. Look, for as well as Carlos played, Carlos is not a good defender either. He gets blown by all the time. He'll struggle. Miller didn't make that play, but it set up the inside tip that Ambrose Hilton knocked in. He had a couple of wild plays down the stretch. He ends up with 12 points, one of 6 guys in double figures. But, man, Syracuse, I'm just looking at it here. No field goals, last 5, 12, 0-4 last field goals. Missed a couple of free throws down the stretch, as we noted. SMU scores on 15 of 16 straight possessions. 28-10 points in the paint in the second half. Buddy P puts it simply, but I think it's what everybody's feeling. Man, what a painful season. Jim B, not that Jim B, having success all game. So at the end, they switch to the air quotes prevent offense. Hold the ball and then force a poor shot at the end of the shot clock. We all know this season was lost months ago. So why am I still infuriated about the last 2 games? Kind of what Chris was saying in his comment a moment ago, too. Because you're a fan. It's your team. You want something to grasp onto, right? But you keep walking away disappointed. And again, it's the manner in which they lose. It's one thing when you're losing and you're just not the better team that night, and that's sports, and people hit shots, and you can accept certain things. The patterns that this team exhibits, it's almost cruel. Just they put it right in front of you and then just find a way to snatch it away. Roger W. says, worst defense and coaching I've ever seen. Wild Hack wants to keep this guy. Enjoy an empty dome next year. From Sean, who says, why did I stay up? Worst coach defensive team ever. Autrey can't finish games. This was all on coaching. And Frankie S. closes with, my tank is empty. This feels like the end stage of grief. Think of the fine line that those comments are versus what we'd be talking about had Syracuse held on. A close win. Yeah, SMU made a run at it here in the second half, and we've seen it a lot this year, but they found a way to do it. They found a way to close the deal, right? Because you just got to do that. You just got to do that sometimes, and they can't even do that. They've got one more chance, a couple more chances, technically, to do that. But time after, and some games they did win in that mold, but not the right ones, not the ones that matter, not the ones that resonate, not the ones that count, right? There's just not enough of those. Like, what is the signature moment of this year? Nothing pops out. Like, you almost have to go back in the schedule. Like, yeah, maybe that one, right? They don't have it. Their signature is they find ways to lose. Their signature is it's one of the worst records since the moon landing. Their signature is they have a coach who is not proving, is not demonstrating deep into his second year that he's the guy. He's not reinforcing that. He is creating more questions than he's answering as a head coach. That's where we're at here. And this was just another log thrown on that fire. A few days after the same thing, right? Against Virginia Tech. When you have those kind of patterns, it's hard to defend. How could anybody, and John Wildhack's going to try, stand out there and defend Autrey as the guy going forward? Like, that is a hard gig right now. That is a hard gig to have right now. I do not envy the athletic director, especially with his own words about galvanizing a fan base to go out there and raise $50 million in fundraising. Quote, in this new era of college athletics, it is abundantly clear that winning programs will be the ones that galvanize the support of their campuses, fan bases, and communities. You said it yourself. So how is a team that now sits at 12-18, 6-13 in ACC play, and about to close out one of the worst seasons in Syracuse history, galvanize a fan base? How? I'll throw it back at you. I mean, I know how I feel about it. I know how a lot of our fans feel about it. I know how our Syracuse Sports Insiders feel about it. I throw it at you. How? How do you do that? How do you sell that? What you're going to do in the portal? What is to come? Okay. Why should we believe you? You could prove me wrong. All it takes is one guy in basketball. Two, maybe, right? You do have a great recruiting class coming in. They do have that. They do have that. It's been the beacon over the hill all year, but the pressure you are on, and Kai and Anthony's going to come in with a ton of pressure anyway, right? But the pressure you are putting on those players to flip, and again, think of what we're talking about here. You have a team next, and it can be done in the portal era, but you have a team that has to win 10 more games next year, minimum, than this one. That has to take all these close losses that they have demonstrated they will lose and flip those into wins next year. This has to be a win next year. Virginia Tech has to be a win, which isn't a lot to ask, by the way, when you've got double-digit leads in a lot of these games. You have to be markedly better on defense next year. How do you do that? It's hard to find. Now, Sadiq White's a great defender, and I'll give credit to some players that are committed to defense in this sport in this day and age when everybody wants to be a TikTok highlight, but you have to completely change a mentality on defense, a losing mentality with, by the way, and this could be how you do it, by the way, a whole new set of characters. It's almost a blessing and a benefit that you're not going to have most of the same team next year because they could be stuck in this mentality, right? So that's what you sell, not to give them the answer to the question, but fresh team, they don't have the hangover of what this team has, but the math still ain't mathing. You got to find at least 10 more wins, close these games, find a team that's markedly better on defense, and things I'm leaving out of the conversation here. I don't want this whole conversation to be about next year because we're plenty of time to talk about that. But that really hit me. I'm looking at the screen, and boy, these announcers tonight. Whew, brutal. It's one of those mute the TV kind of situations and just put the captions on. But they kept saying it all night. Joe Lunardi says SMU is the last team out. Look at their record. Now, can you picture Syracuse being in this exact situation next year? 21, 22, 23 win team, a 12-ish, 13-ish win team in the league. Now, the ACC could be completely different next year, but just, using this year as an example, and the ACC's been, down the past couple of years here. Can you envision a scenario where this team a year from now is SMU? They've got those wins, and they're battling to get in the tournament. Last year, that's where Syracuse was. I was looking at some of my, how your memories pop up on various social media things, and I'm looking at memories from pods coming up last year. Syracuse stays on bubble with win over Louisville. I'm like, man, they were actually on the bubble last year, right? They turned down an NIT bid last year, this time. So they went from that this time last year to a team that's several games below 500 now. So that is your mission, should you choose to accept it. A year from now, you have to completely flip the script again. That is, with what we've seen and what we know what the resources are, even if they get more NIL money, and we saw it with the football team, things can happen, right? But that is a gargantuan task. And I'll use that G word again, that Wild Heck used. You have to galvanize your fan base. Winning programs are the ones that will galvanize. The second biggest program, what has been the biggest program, Syracuse football became a football school recently, but historically as a basketball school. So what is the thing is the one hurting the most. And you've got to galvanize it and completely turn it around. That is a hell of a task. It'll make a hell of a story, too, if they do it, if they pull it off. But, man, tonight, And we're talking about a 2-point loss. You think we're sitting here talking about a blowout, but those almost sting worse. You'd rather they lose 15, 20 points just because you know they're going to lose. And there's no teasing of, I think they got this one. And then once again, they snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. If I'm even getting that expression right, which I don't even know if I am, but you get the point. They found a way to lose again. So that's where we're at, kids, with one game to go. So, programming note. If you missed the Axe Brent Anything episode of Syracuse Sports, that is up now on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Amazing questions from our Syracuse Sports Insiders. We talked so many different things that I don't even want to tease it, but sports, music, food, all kinds of topics. Travel was in there. The Axe Brent Anything episodes are always fun. So that's up. Our next live pod, Thursday afternoon. Chris Carlson and I got some juicy things to talk about, including this team. But did you see the ACC stuff this week? This is not good news for the ACC. I don't know why people are out there just like breathing a sigh of relief. Oh, whew, stability. No, Florida State and Clemson worked the ACC. So I'll say more of that for our Thursday live pod, but that'll be Thursday afternoon. Usually we do it about 3 o'clock Eastern time, but I'll buzz our Syracuse Sports Insiders and let you know exactly when we'll be going with the live pod. Saturday night, it's all right for fighting, and it's all right for our last Syracuse basketball postgame show of the regular season after the Orange take on Virginia. So we will be doing that. Plenty to come on the text line as well with football. Spring practice, I believe, starts a week from today, if I'm not mistaken. That'll provide a little relief for everybody. Lacrosse with a huge matchup against Hopkins this weekend, and all the latest manners of Syracuse sports. Hit me on the text line, guys. We'd love for you to become a Syracuse Sports Insider today. For now, that is another edition of Syracuse Basketball Postgame presented by Krause Health, the exclusive healthcare partner for Syracuse Athletics. Syracuse loses to SMU 77-75. Thanks for watching tonight. Please subscribe, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, so you can listen and watch on demand when you want. And thanks for watching and listening to Syracuse Sports and our postgame shows throughout the season. One last regular season postgame show to do Saturday after the Orange take on Virginia at the JMA Wireless Dome. That's an 8 o'clock tip, so we'll talk to you Saturday night. We'll talk to you Thursday on the live pod. We'll talk to you on the text line as well, guys. Thanks for hanging tonight.